Warning. This interview is in a zombie containment area. So, if you're living, you've reached the dead end with your friends, the Unkind. Good evening, lads, and how art thou?
How you doing, Scary?
Good.
I'm good, I'm good. And your fine selves?
Very good.
Do we look alright?
Oh, yes. You don't look at all anyone else, you just look like your fine, ghoulish, gruesome selves.
He's complimenting us, guys.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So, fresh off a gig that was at Mr. Boogeyman Bar, how did you guys feel during that show?
Present.
Don't want that, just
Very
have a
good.
friend.
Probably one of the best gigs we've ever played.
And there was the album launch.
Yes,
It was the album launch, yeah.
So how do you think people have taken to that now that they've heard, seen, and, well, own it?
Well, from what we've seen, people are actually really enjoying it. Like, they just, the one complaint we seem to be getting is that, it's too short. Like, you know, they've just started getting into it and they, you know, it's done.
Will there be a follow-up or a longer release in the future?
There's definitely going to be a follow-up. Don't you worry about that.
Absolutely.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know if it's going to be longer, though. I don't think we can afford to make it any longer. So, yeah, but there will be a follow-up. So, yeah.
When did the Unkind start?
About 5 years ago, Marty and I met through Melbourne. I think that's where every band meets up.
Magical.
Pretty much.
And then we had another guy on the bass, Dave, who was pretty good, but his time was done. And then about a year and a half later, Grant joined the band, and
It's me.
that's it. The rest is history. So,
Here we are in front of you.
Live and gruesome.
Mostly gruesome.
Who thought of the band?
That would be this gentleman here.
yeah, I did. So, I wanted to start a band that had as much of an image as what they did a sound. So, something based on sort of high energy, you know. We took kind of the platforms and stencils off of bands like the Misfits and Kiss and all that kind of stuff, and bands like that. But it was about a band having an image, not just playing music. So that's what we came up with. So it actually started kind of before these two came along. There was a bit of an idea between me and a couple other guys, and then that didn't work out, or there was a couple of false starts. And then I met Marty, and then it sort of all fell in shape. Yeah, that guy.
Yeah.
That's Marty. Say hi to Marty.
Hello, Marty Myers. And yeah, we had first time I met Nick or Necro. Excuse me there, bit of a tickle in my throat. Yeah, we had similarities, and obviously that sort of future view and goal sense within a band, not just to be four guys up on stage, jeans and t-shirts. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but really to put on a great show, just like our mentors before us, and but obviously with our own persona. And yeah, and I think that it's lacking sometimes in Melbourne, but as much as there is some fantastic music. So yep, that's why we're here, and this fine gentleman joined us later on. So
I don't know about fine. Gentleman maybe, but, you know.
yeah.
Yeah, like when I came along, I was pretty much exactly looking for what these guys were looking for, except on the other side of the fence, you know. I was looking for a band that was a little bit, you know, different. Didn't want to just get up there and, you know, stand around like stunned mullets. They wanted to actually jump around and be idiots and, you know, put on this gruesome attire, if you will.
experiences did you have before you grouped together?
You guys.
Personally, like, I wouldn't really pinpoint myself to any particular genres or anything. I just pretty much played everything, but I've sort of got a specific preference for the fast, heavy stuff, and that's where these guys come in.
I was got a different background, even from, in some ways, from Necro and Zodiac. As much as I was more little sort of punk influence, but a lot of rock, hard rock, and some metal. But still, I did like, you know, I'd gone through my punk stages here and there. So I really sort of, I think that's my influence sort of blends well with theirs. Of course, in terms of the whole showmanship aspect. So yeah, we always we'll have different views, and I think it works well at variation of mix, and all just being and coming from one basic aspect of punk or rock or metal.
Me, probably like on the same boat as these guys, except I'd been playing in bands for I've been probably in about 20 to 25 odd bands differently, and then there was always this need for a band. I always wanted to be in a band that had some sort of an image, and all the bands I was in previously, we had talked about it, but never quite done it. So this was like when I got to be the frontman. I kind of, that's what I kind of pushed, like that the band's got a uniform look, so that's where the influence comes from. So, you know, again, loosely based off bands like the Misfits and Kiss and all that kind of stuff, but, you know, it was all about just looking like something rather than just being anybody.
The look the first idea, or did that sort of come later on after many different discussions of how to look and, well, sound?
I think it was kind of the first idea, wasn't it? I think without, you know, trying to say, like, I think I steered the ship on it, but, you know, I think the first couple of gigs the guys weren't sure, or they didn't think I was serious enough. There's a little bit of, you know, concern amongst that, but when they saw that I was serious, they all came on board quite easily, and Grant came in knowing fully what to expect, so it was just, yeah, that was it. So there wasn't, like I said, I wanted a band that had an image, and I wanted to base it around stuff like, I grew up in the 80s and 50s horror and sci-fi, so this image kind of represents that.
Same. And, what drew me to Nickus initially, obviously besides their influences and a good and terrific starting chat, was I love horror movies. It's one of my favourite things in terms of genre. And that was just a big draw card to the band. Some great songs as well. Just sort of like a lot of energy, good variation in rhythm and guitar as well. But the horror aspect was a big influence. Obviously, just like my influences, of course, Kiss and some of Misfits. So after the first gig, it was like, this guy means business. Got my bass player, he understood, and we went on from there, full steam ahead.
And you can't not like movies that are so, you know, bloody they're funny, you know? It loses its scare factor.
Scare factor?
It just becomes hilarious. That's what we're all about.
We have Zodiac,
Hey kids.
the man on the bass. So, what made you want to take up bass?
Well, I'll be honest, because no one else wanted to. But to be honest, like, I did. I fell in love with the instrument almost immediately. And, you know, nearly 20 years later, here I am still playing the damn thing.
And who influenced you?
There's a long list. To narrow it down to a top three, I'd have to say it'd be Cliff Burton from Metallica, it'd be Flea from Red Hot Chili Peppers, and It's a hard one, but Matt Freeman from Rancid would be my top 3, I'd say, as far as my style goes.
So, what about bass that made you just want to take it up?
It's not guitar, man. It's not. It's not a wanker's instrument. No, scratch that. Well, no. To be honest, I've got a feel for more the rhythm and the beat than the actual melody side of things. Even though I actually, in my style, I tend to add to the melody. I don't know. Bass guitar is just it for me personally.
And, like, when you were learning, did you foresee that you were going to be, like, a technical player or just, like, the standard?
Not at all. I just wanted to be a standard meathead. I just wanted to play bass. Bass is fun.
And,
Yeah.
if not bass, what other instrument would you have chosen?
That's a really, really good question, Scary. I don't know. I really don't know. I guess guitar. I'm okay at guitar. I'm no good at drums. My IQ is just way too high for that stuff. Yeah. Don't know. I'm not 100% sure, actually. I haven't given that much thought, I have to be honest.
And what's your favorite string to play?
Another one I haven't given much thought. Can I answer all of them?
Hey, it's what you enjoy plucking.
There's not a damn string I can pick out that.
Not a damn, so you like the D.
Okay, yeah. You're telling everyone I like the D now. Good on you. On you, Scary. Thank you.
Well, most bassists would pick the G.
Touche.
Here we have Marty Myers, the drummer. Well, Mr. Myers, when did you decide to play the pots and the pans?
Well, it was one time in the kitchen when I was waiting for dinner. No, back in the mid-80s. No, I just, drumming goes a long time back, even before I actually started playing drums. Even though I can remember as far back as 10 years old, listening to some, an older 80s CD, Top Gun cassette, can you believe, to Cheap Trick, and Kenny Loggins just hitting a cardboard box with two toy drumsticks. Mum and Dad got me, and set, and then fast forward into the early 90s, almost started drums then. I was really heavily into it, and just getting into all the hard rock bands, Guns N' Roses, Motley, Metallica, of course Van Halen, a massive influence on me, as well as the drummer, and various elements came in, didn't happen. And fast forward 10 years to 2002, then I commenced drums there finally. And the best part is, had enough money to afford a nice big drum kit. So I was a happy 27-year-old. Or am I? Who knows my age? But yeah, next question.
Well, you spoke of influences like Metallica, so Lars, Van Halen, Alex. When you started to play, like, did you just learn all the basics, or you just wanted to start right from the get-go and, like, try and be like one of your influences, or you just wanted to make sure you got to know everything before you had fun?
It was almost like a release when I started drums. I was really like gung-ho, but also at the same time I knew I wanted to take lessons. I was serious about it as well, but basically I think I did more listening to CDs than actual theory. But to my drum teacher, that we can into that later. But basically got all that playing out of my system on the actual drum kit. Good 6 months. Then I really hit the theory hard, and obviously developed my my actual whole kit and the setup. Learnt a lot more, and of course actually delved into different types of drumming besides rock, funk, jazz, which I loved both a lot, and some blues. So then, yeah, but I was heavily into it in the mid-2000s area, and just gone on from there. Of course, eventually, after a few bands and false starts, met up with these terrific boys.
And what was about the drums that made you want to take them on?
It's one of those things, as many musicians or even sportsmen, so forth, will tell you. I just gravitated towards drums. There's no sort of a significant moment in life. Just happened, as I said, even around 10 years old. Just had a knack for it. It was exciting, and yeah, it was just dabbled in other instruments like guitar and bass, which were great fun. But really, drums is the most natural, and yeah, it's obviously keeps you fit. Don't have to go to the gym. It's beautiful.
So, if not drums, what other instrument would you have chosen?
Okay. What other instrument? I'd say almost become a bass guitar. I mean, I've actually had vocal lessons in the past, very challenging too, but I found bass can be really fun. And I've, yeah, just some good parts to it. I think part of the mindset of my drum mindset and rhythmic counting seems to flow well in bass. And obviously it's the second half of the rhythm section, so yeah, it's something I might pursue in the future. It's good.
Your favorite drum or beat to play?
Drum or beat? Let's see. I'd say just a blend of rock and even funk. I find funk very exciting. I think you can actually even mix it up at times. There's almost no rules to it in some areas between the bass drum and hands. As much as jazz is fantastic as well. It's, and blues, yeah, I found funk a lot of sort of good gelling for me as well. I bring my own influence into it. Especially like bands like Red Hot Chili Peppers, Chad Smith and others. As you know, the energy's right there every time you hear a funk drummer. So.